Then it's already happening. I mean, like we have a clip here. More adults are moving back in with their parents than ever before. It's watching.
All right. Alone to be.
Okay, so that's a difficult example. I'm not very sympathetic to her, but I am sympathetic to the trend. Yeah. For a long time, millennials, Gen Z were criticized for living in their parents' basement. Oh, you keyboard warrior in your parents' basement. And it was used as a criticism or an attack because it was perceived that the younger generations were of poorer character. They didn't have the same work ethic. And there's some truth to that. But if you go back to even Plato's Republic, Socrates was complaining about the weakness of the next generation. This is something that every generation for the history of human history has thought the next generation was incredibly problematic. And it's just not really true. They're different. They have different strengths and different weaknesses, right? And the fact of the matter is the fundamental cause, not the only cause, not the exclusive cause, but the main cause of people living with their parents after college or until they're 30 is because of inflation. It's because our currency's a lie. It's because you have to save up more and more and more for a down payment. Housing prices have gone up. Costs have gone up. The only way to really save up for a down payment on a house, like I've got a very, very successful brother-in-law. He's my age, my wife's brother, right? Totally hardworking, totally smart, educated, independent. He lived at home until he was 30 or 31 or 32 because he was living in Orange County. How the fuck are you supposed to make a down payment on a house when the cheapest house you can get is $500,000? You got to make what? At least 10% down. So he lived with his parents while he saved up 50, 100, 150, 200 grand, whatever. You know what I mean? To make the down payment to get a good deal on a home. Now he's, doing very well. He's married. He's got kids. He's got, I think, a second one on the way. And they're going to get a bigger house. He's independent, but like, look, it was the inflation. I mean, the cost is super high. Of course, you're going to move back in with your parents for a minute. And look, so I'm not knocking it. And look, there are some decisions people can make to avoid having to do that. Like when you graduate from high school, you can start a business instead of going to college, or you can try to get a job instead of going to college, which is probably more practical, depending on what you want to do. I mean, if you want to do something that requires a specific license, like be a doctor or a lawyer, then I understand going to college. But if you're just going to go to college to get a business administration degree, why don't you just fucking go read the top 20, top 50 most famous business books of all time and then start a business, or reach out to a CEO and say, look, I don't have a business degree, but I guarantee I'm the only employee you've got that's read all 50 of these books. You should give me a shot. I'll start low as long as you promise upward mobility. They'll be so fucking impressed with the fact that you did that because it's indicative of the same attitude they had when they started the business. So, look. There's ways you can avoid having to live with your parents. Like you can get to work right away instead of going to college. You can make better decisions. But fundamentally, on like a macro scale, the reason we've got these generations of people that live with their parents into the 30s is fundamentally mostly because of inflation. And that inflation has caused two things. It's caused feminism, because if a man cannot provide for a family of four, then a woman has to work. And if a woman has to work, the societal cope for that is feminism. Mm-hmm. Look, this isn't because I'm failing as a man. It's because women should have careers too and be able to pursue their own dreams. This isn't me needing you as a woman. This is me empowering you as a woman. That was the psychological cope of our civilization in response to inflation. Feminism was a psychological cope to inflation. And then if you've got women going to college and you've got men going to college and you've got them both starting a career, then rather than building a life together like people used to do 100 years ago in this country, you've got people trying to merge lives. And they're doing it later rather than earlier, so they can be financially set, and therefore they're having fewer kids, and they're having more kids with autism because there's more. What's it called? The type of pregnancy where it's after you're 35.
Well, just call it a high risk pregnancy.
Yeah, after you're 35, it's technically a
geriatric pregnancy.
Geriatric pregnancy, exactly. So that I mean, obviously, I believe that the vaccines have something to do with autism, but I think it's really understated. The increase in autism is largely correlated to the fact that women are having children when they're older. On average.
Yeah. I see two trends here. One good, one bad. Those with the safety net, homes will be multi-generational as they are in second and third world countries and a lot of traditional cultures. So you'll see those with safety nets actually form a tighter knit community first through the nuclear family by having to move back in with their parents and having some order and direction in their lives because there's more supervision again. But on the other hand, those without safety nets will have to get more debased just to earn a higher standard of living.
What do you mean by more debased?
OnlyFans, selling drugs,
See, but
prostitution.
That's the thing, dude. Dude, the average woman on OnlyFans makes like $224 a month.
Yeah.
Yeah, like we see in the media and in the news and on the whatever podcast, these hot bitches that come in and they're doing $100,000 a month, they're doing $1 million a month. What, like, we see these like extreme examples, but it's
that's
really
not the
misleading.
reality.
It's so easy for fucking dudes to see women get fucked on the internet that just because you do an OnlyFans doesn't mean you're gonna make it.
No, but what OnlyFans is the funnel for debasement. The end result you end up being a prostitute.
Yeah.
Like in actually like going and meeting up, being a woman of the night.
Right.
So you're going to see a hell of a lot more people selling drugs. You're going to see a hell of a lot more people selling their bodies in one way, shape, form, or another. Because when they go do OnlyFans and they realize, oh, fuck, I just put myself all over the internet and I'm making $200 a month. What's the next logical step for a girl who has chosen to take that path now? It's to become a prostitute.
They're even. I mean, I've seen it with former Disney stars.
So you're going to see them get into porn, actual real hardcore porn. You're going to see them selling their bodies on the street or on the internet. Not just pictures, but actually meeting up with these men.
There's a Black Mirror episode about that. Did you see that episode of Black Mirror? I think it's come up on this show before, where a man and his wife, the wife gets in a car accident and she's got this brain damage. And there's a new technology, like similar to Neuralink, that can come in and correct the brain damage, but you have to pay a subscription. Right. And at first they can afford the subscription, but then at the tier that she randomly says ads every 30 minutes.
Yeah, and then you have to keep.
Then you have to upgrade it
just to get rid of the ads.
And then if you want to be able to leave like the service area for her brain to work, you have to pay for more, right? And so the husband, in response to this increasing bill, and he's the only one that can work or whatever because he's a blue collar welding guy, he starts doing these radical things on the internet.
Yeah.
Like pulling his teeth out and shit, and it ruins his whole fucking life. And in the end of the episode, he tragically just has to decide to let his wife die.
Dude, remember I was talking to you about that new, what the fuck is it called, like bounty hunting or something like that, where like you go to pump.fun and it's like, get a tattoo on your forehead that it's whatever.
And people like
yeah,
bid.
they have to go and do it, and then they
raise
collect
money
that
to do
bounty.
it.
Yeah, no, they don't raise money. They have to provide proof that they did whatever the bounty
So you can
was.
put a bounty in for $5,000 to get somebody like get a swastika tattooed on their forehead.
Exactly,
and
then they get it filmed, live streamed on pump.fun, then it's verified, and then they collect the bounty for $5,000 or whatever.
That's fucked up.
Yeah, that's where the society's going. That's essentially what MrBeast is. Thank you, Gabe Williams, for the $10 super chat. He says, God bless, boys. Really appreciate that, bro. But you see, that's why I sat there and watched.
You have beef with MrBeast?
Yes.
Well, okay, tell me about that. Because
he's like number 4 on my list of potential antichrists.
Tell me about this, because I'll tell you what I see when I see MrBeast, and I am totally willing to change my perspective. Like, I am not adamant about this position, but I want to tell you where I'm at now, and I'm liable to be in a completely different place in 5 minutes after you explain yourself, okay? So I come from a background that is not political. People know me in this space as political because, you know, I started a podcast in 2021. I did InfoWars for 2.5 years, and now I'm doing this. They see me as like, I don't know, some kind of like C-list, D-list, E-list political influencer, right? But before that, I was a social media marketer. I started my own business in 2016. I was like one of the top 1% of people on Fiverr that was doing business. During the pandemic, I did like $500,000 in business on Fiverr. It was fucking insane.